Hey, and welcome back to the Business Hive podcast. I'm Jess, here to spark actionable strategies and fun breakthroughs that unleash your business potential. Y'all, the Business Hive launches next week. Oh my God. Oh my God. I cannot believe this is happening. The Business Hive launches next week. Where did all the time go? Okay, get it together, Jess. Okay, so today we're going to get real. All right. I want to pull back the curtain or the proverbial curtain on what it actually took for me to build the Business Hive. I'm not going to give you the highlight reel. No, 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 no. No, not, curated clips or the clever marketing. I'm talking about the undercurrent, the behind the scenes reality of what it looks like to go from idea to launch when you're building something that is near and dear to your heart that you believe really matters and doing it without a safety net. When I started the Business Hive, I had this vision. I knew there was a gap for small business owners and founders, and they were craving some real strategy, some real clarity, and a community. There's no real community out there. I knew my audience was tired of wading through the endless noise and gimmicks. And I didn't want to create another platform that just pumped out a bunch of tips and templates. I wanted to build something that actually served the people at the ground level, something that grew with them. And I'll be honest, dreaming it was the easy part. Okay, that was easy. Building it, that took a different kind of energy. Like that took that took a chutzpah that I did not know I had. So, in this episode, I'm sharing what it really took to build the Business Hive. And I'm not talking about branding or the tools or the technology. This week, I'm talking about what it took from me personally, the mindset, the moments, the lessons, the ones that are far from sexy, but 100% essential. So let's get into it. Let's start with the first thing that building the Business Hive demanded from me, and that was faith. Not faith of a religious sense, although my faith that God would carry me when I became weak and uncertain was absolutely there. But I'm talking about the faith in me. I had to believe that I could succeed outside of corporate, and that was hard. I had to believe that I could take everything I knew, all the experience I'd built over 2 decades, and apply it in a completely new container. Doing this work for a company, that was familiar, that was safe. But building something on my own, where I owned the decision and I owned the risk, that was different. And here's something that nobody tells you, that belief, it doesn't just show up all at once. It's not like one day you wake up and you're like, yep, I got this. No, 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 no. It builds slowly. Every decision you make, every time you show up when it's easier not to, that's how you earn your own trust. That's how faith grows. You've heard other gurus talk about know, like, trust. And you have to get your audience to know you and like you and trust you. And I believe in that 100% wholeheartedly. But here's the other thing, probably more important than anything, you need to know, like, and trust yourself. After that came the guts. Because let's be real, the online business space is noisy. There are gurus and experts and thought leaders with massive followings and all these shiny funnels and high production everything, all these big promises. And I had to decide that even if I wasn't the loudest voice, even if I didn't have the biggest stage, I still had a perspective that mattered. I had to believe that real strategy and deep experience were enough to stand on, that I didn't need to dress it up or water it down to compete. And that, y'all, that took guts. But guts don't cancel out fear. And that brings me to the third thing, fearlessness. I'm using that word intentionally, not because I was never afraid, but because I learned how to move anyway. At the end of every podcast episode, you hear me say, do it afraid. And that's what I did. I did it afraid. No, I'm lying. I did it terrified. At the beginning, fear was in everything. Oh my God, what if nobody signs up? What if I fall flat on my face? What if the trolls come and cuss me out and talk about me and say mean things? What if this all is a massive waste of time and energy? What if I use up all my savings trying to launch this thing and lose everything? But fear is a time thief. It makes you second guess what you've already decided. It delays your launch and it keeps you tweaking and retweaking instead of releasing. So I made a decision halfway through. I wasn't going to let fear lead. That didn't mean I didn't feel fear. I just stopped giving it any power. Another thing no one tells you enough is that this takes time. In fact, I'm not even going to say that. Another thing nobody tells you is that this takes time. These gurus will have you out here believing that this is something you can do in a matter of weeks. And I'm telling you, it's not. Building something sustainable and thoughtful and rooted in real value, that doesn't happen in a week. It doesn't happen after one viral post or some well written funnel. Despite what social media wants you to believe, you are not one $2,500 program away from a 7-figure business. This thing took months of work, late nights and long weekends, trial and error, revisions, redirections, corrections, tears. And that's normal. I know the gurus say it's not. They're lying. It's normal. This takes time. But if time is the canvas, then consistency is the brush. See, showing up when no one's watching, posting when the metrics are low, sending the email when you'd rather, close the laptop. I don't think consistency gets enough credit because it's not glamorous. It doesn't always give you immediate payoff, but it builds trust, it builds rhythm, and it proves to your audience and to you that you're in it for the long haul. My social media posts still don't get a ton of views. They still don't get a ton of engagement. My podcast does not get a ton of listens. I struggle every single day, but I don't care. I'm going to keep going. This is the beginning, and the beginning is hard. You put forth the effort. You sow, you sow, you sow, you plant, you sow, and then you will reap. That is the way life works. Now let's talk about community, because I could not have built the Business Hive in isolation. I needed people. I need people to bounce ideas off of, to remind me I wasn't crazy for trying to build something different. I needed people to show up to test things and give feedback and support the vision. I need people to spread the word. You cannot build a business in a vacuum. It is not possible. And if you try, the silence will wear you down. Community is the antidote to burnout. It gives you perspective and momentum. And last, but far from the least, this took grace. And that is one thing I have not heard one guru talk about. I had to give myself space to get it wrong. I did not do this perfectly. I am not doing this perfectly. I have gone left when I should have went right. I have gone down when I should have went up. I have stopped when I should have continued moving forward. I had to give myself space. I had to mess up. I had to learn it out loud. And I'm telling you, not everything turned out the way I'd originally planned. A lot of things flopped, and some decisions were just flat out mistakes. But grace meant I didn't have to spiral. I could own the misstep, I could make an adjustment, and I could keep moving. Grace is what kept me from quitting on the days that felt so heavy. And there were a lot of those. So, if you're listening to this and you're thinking about starting something, whether it's your first business or your next big project, here's what I want you to take away from today's episode. It was not a long one, but it was one that was laying heavy on my heart, especially 1 week out from launch. First, check in with your belief. Do you believe you're capable? That your experience is valid outside of the environment you built it in? And if not, that's going to be your starting point. Then you need to decide that you're going to show up consistently, even when it's quiet, even when nobody's watching, even when that post got no views or that video got no views. You're going to show up. That's going to push you through the fear when the fear creeps in again, because it's going to. You'll remind yourself that fear doesn't get the final say. And please find your people, build your circle, get into rooms where you're not the only one building something. I know you love your family, and I love my family too. But if they are not currently building a business, they do not fully understand what you're going through. You need to get into rooms where you're not the only one building something. This is going to keep you grounded, and it's going to give you the inspiration you need to keep moving forward. And finally, be kind to yourself. You don't have to do everything perfectly, because you're not going to do everything perfectly, because you're not supposed to. You are supposed to stay in the game. That means left or right, up or down, forward or backwards. Stay in the game. If you're in the middle of building, I see you. If you're just getting started, you're not behind. And if you've already hit a wall, you are allowed to pause, but you are not allowed to quit. So reflect on this. What's one thing you've been delaying because you were waiting to feel ready? Now, ask yourself, what would it look like if you did it anyway? The Business Hive is officially launching on August 13th. That is next Wednesday. And the wait list is still open. So if you're someone who's building a business and you're tired of feeling like you are doing it alone, or worse, doing it wrong, I want you to come join us. Inside of the Business Hive, you're going to get access to strategy and support and a smart, no fluff community of people who get it. People who aren't chasing shortcuts, but are here to build real, resilient businesses. You can find the link to the waitlist in the show notes, or head over to the Business Hyve, HYVE, thebusinesshive.com to sign up. And if this episode right here hit home for you, I'd love for you to subscribe, share it with a friend, or leave a quick review, because reviews, they help. You have no idea how much they help. I'm going to go finish working on the finishing touches of the Business Hive. And until next week, stay curious, stay consistent, and do it afraid. Bye, y'all.